This is Edenbridge, which is in Kent, and despite being so close to London, indeed the M25 is only a couple of kilometres from here as the crow flies, this place has a very old worldly feel about it, with these timbered houses which I would have thought goes back to the late medieval period. And this town, which grew up in medieval times along the former Roman road which went down here, and the bridge which crossed the Eden, which is down there. The old Crown Inn here dates to the 14th century, and it is the only pub in Kent to have a sign spanning the road, which you can see up there. The population here is around 9,000 people, which justifies a large Waitrose, as well as various eating places. And up here we have the medieval church. The house on the left is called the Priest House, and it's next to the church. There's the nursery, and the church is 13th century, and apparently it's got some medieval graffiti on the walls. It's a very unusual steeple, I think, or the shape of it. The tower, most odd. So the church is in two parts. This half was built later, and the oldest part is there. Here we have the font, which is clearly Norman. The roof was rebuilt in the 15th century, so they did a good job of it, because it's lasted so long. The porch, which I suspect could be original. The pulpit, however, dates to Jacobean times. That's King James I, so that's the first quarter of the 17th century. There's some graffiti there. Whether or not that is medieval or not, I wouldn't know, but to be quite honest, it doesn't look like it. I hope that nobody did it recently though, defacing the church. This is original, I think, from the 13th century. Rather curious thing written here, which is that John Stephen's store is erected by his wife. Now what could that mean? In fact, what it means is you have to read the whole thing. To the glory of God and in loving memory of John Stephen's store, late of Willys at Heath, Crockham Hill, who died January the 6th, 1895. This window was erected by his wife, Amy Giovanna Store, in the year 1908. So if you don't read the full thing, it can get a bit confusing. Here we have a nice poem. So let's see who it's to first of all. Here lies the remains of Anne Yemmet, daughter of Robert Yemmet, late of Skeins, I can't remember how to pronounce it, in this parish, Gent. Died 14th of July 1683 at the age of 23. I've translated the Latin into English. This fair young virgin for a nuptial bed, more fit is lodged sad fate amongst the dead, stormed by rough winds, so false in all her pride, the full-blown rose designed to adorn a bride. The blasted rose its beauty shan't regain, and shall neglected by the bride remain. This virgin in immortal beauty dressed shall meet her bridegroom as a welcome guest. (1677). It was not 17th century. We do also have recent things there with 1981. And here's somebody who's younger than I am. Nicola Ann Butler, who died in 1986 in a freak accident whilst driving along the seafront at Littlehampton. Apparently these families still live here. People died very young, 21, 31. Can't see, but it's not. Take that out. The clock is much younger than the tower, but it's only got an hour hand. It's wound up by hand every day. Well, you can say, what do you need a minute's hand for? You can tell more or less what the time is from that. It's just before 10. Today is the 10th of October 2016. So it's 10, the 10th day of the 10th month. It's autumn. They've just had Harvest Festival in the church, which was what they were cleaning up after, so the ladies told me. It's a bit nippy, having had so many months of strong heat. Now it's too cold for my liking. The church possibly stands on the site of an earlier Saxon church, because it's known that the locals paid a tithe for the church. And logically, the new church, let's say this one, when it was built around 1200, would be on the site of the former church. But we don't know. The Normans did that type of thing. Indeed, when Norwich Cathedral was built, I think they knocked down at least one church to make way for it. So we have here the bridge which gives the town its name, and gave the town its name as long ago as Saxon times as well. It has its own trust, the Great Stonebridge Trust. This is the River Eden, which flows eventually into the Medway and Thames estuary out to sea. Edenbridge is highly prone to flooding. There's been a couple of floods here. I read that the last or recent flood, there was a gentleman who was so engrossed in the Forsyth saga that he didn't realise that his house was getting flooded, and that's what he told the helicopter when it came to rescue him. With floods, often it doesn't seem as though a river is liable to flood. It depends on what's happening further upstream. And it's hard to believe that until quite recently that all this traffic actually went through the centre of the town, that narrow road. I think around here must be great for cycling. It's so close to London. You've got two railway stations here with connections into London. The railway stations themselves, the first one dates to 1842, so it's one of the oldest railway stations in the world. And the second one is about 40 years later, something like that. Now nearby we've got Hever Castle, noted for Anne Boleyn, got Chartwell, a house Churchill owned, both within what, less than 10 kilometres of here. It's quite hilly. You don't feel as though you're so close to London at all. I was coming into these small country lanes. It felt as though I was somewhere completely out in the countryside. And there's 2 free car parks here. Should you need somewhere to stick your vehicle. This is the car park. It's written that no lorries are allowed, so I presume that motorhomes are. There's a vehicle down there which is the size of many of our motorhomes. I wouldn't suggest you brought a big one here. I think mine would just about fit because there is space for the overhang at the back, but anything larger than that, not really. I think it's good that they have a free car park here, located right next to the cemetery. It's not behind you if you die, and just stick you straight in, no faffing around. Because here there is a lot of eating places, and so people could come here and they could enjoy this medieval surroundings and come here for your Sunday lunch or something like that. Indeed. This is my second day. Admittedly, I was actually doing something yesterday not related to tourism, but I think it's a very nice village. Lots of character to it. Very close to London, and of course we've got these other places such as Hever Castle and Chartwell and others to see in the area.